Welcome back to Que Pasa Nashville. I'm speaking with Luis Mata with the TIRRC, Tennessee Immigrant Refugee Coalition. I think it's Tennessee Immigrant Refugee Rights Coalition, who is working with the policy team. And TIRRC is an organization that really helps our immigrant community just adjust from naturalization classes, English classes, to really advocating for what's right for our community. I know TIRRC has had success with our DACA recipients, which is our Deferred Action Childhood Arrivals, that are in limbo. They're not a U.S. citizen, but they came here as a youth. Driver's license initiatives. I think, if I'm not mistaken, one that's successful is that women who wear a hijab can take a picture, a private picture without their hijab, but their driver's license would have their hijab, and that was a compromise to understand our diverse community. One of your success stories with the Sheriff's Department and understanding that. So there's really understanding who are we becoming and how to get our laws to not be so hateful. Is that correct?
That is exactly right. So
it's exciting what what you're doing.
No, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, as you were mentioning, TIRRC is our C3 organization, right? So we are building power with immigrants and refugees across the state. And through that, we realized that our immigrant and refugee communities, we were trying to shift the tide here across Tennessee and across the South politically, right? So then that led in 2018 to the creation of our political arm, which is our C4, TIRRC Votes.
Which is separate from TIRRC.
That is correct. That is correct. It's a sister organization to TIRRC. And through that, it basically created the avenue for our immigrant and refugee communities to be at the forefront of creating a pro-immigrant, pro-refugee political infrastructure, right? So since the creation in 2018, that same year in 2018, we worked together as a collaboration, a coalition with our directly impacted community members, and we unseated a very anti-immigrant elected official at the state legislature.
Wow.
Shortly after that, in 2019, we endorsed candidates for Nashville City Council. 21 out of those 25 were elected. And then now in 2022, we have our huge historic victory, which was the passing of our workforce expansion law.
Okay, this is huge. Okay, so it was with Governor Lee, and it's the workforce expansion law, which is like a pro-license bill, trying to give immigrants that have come from other countries that are certified in their countries. Kind of explain it better.
Yes. Okay, great. So basically what we were noticing was that we had community members coming up to us for years saying, hey, I went through nursing school. I went through, my bartending certificate, my barber license, all different professions, coming to us saying that they went through the same education as their peers, but were then met with the barrier of the old law, which basically said that only people who were citizens or on a pathway to citizenship were eligible for professional or commercial licenses.
And so these are people that are undocumented.
So it is people who have a federally so what the law says is, we worked together to create the language of the bill, and what we decided was that, the law would say anybody who is federally authorized with a federally authorized work permit in the state of Tennessee is now eligible to obtain a professional or commercial license.
Okay, and I just wanted to say, this is huge, and I don't think people, so we're talking CDL license, driving a truck. We're talking, not just, we need a workforce. We don't have a workforce. And we have so many people willing to work that are elevated in their certification that can now work in our industry. And we're talking, what, 40,000? How many people are we talking about?
Yeah, so basically the licenses that are included in this, there's more than 300. More than 300 licenses. Any profession that requires a license is eligible for this, right? So that goes from, nurses, physical therapists, social workers, barbers.
Okay, but just nurses in the South. Let's just say nurses. Look how many nurses shortage we have. Yet we have a slew of people willing to take on those positions. And so what does that mean? Do they have to retake some classes or get certified within our world versus where they came from?
So basically, this doesn't change anything regarding the licensure process itself or like international requirements or anything of that sort, but it just says that if folks go through education here in Tennessee, they are then eligible to obtain a Tennessee professional or commercial license. That's correct.
And so, and the demand is there. We have enough people who want to do that. That's been just sitting there. And I love the word workforce expansion law.
Yes.
And so, so that opens it up for our growth and we know our unemployment rate, especially in Nashville. And we're not talking hospitality. We're talking just more than that of our diverse community.
That's exactly right. And so, what this is doing, it's basically changing the licensure process from a barrier to an opportunity, right? So it's not only expanding our workforce, right, and our labor supply, but it's also recognizing these individuals for humans, their humanity, and saying, hey, you invested so much in your education and to get where you are right now, so now it is the opportunity for you to obtain your license.
And we need them. So what other, so TIRRC, I know recently they moved to your new location off of Antioch Pike, and you have your own building, you have a playground for the neighborhoods, you are becoming part of the community. I was on the development team trying to raise funds, and it's just beautiful. And you guys are you have so many different little groups everywhere from all diverse organizations that have a role in, the English Only Initiative back in 2007, just to immigrant issues. What's coming up that we need to know about? Yeah,
so, what we always say is that, and I was mentioning earlier, right, the growing immigrant and refugee populations that we're seeing, that should be, as I mentioned, a flair for policymakers to invest in immigrant and refugee communities, right? And we saw exactly that earlier this year when the metro government of Nashville and Davidson County invested close to exactly $1.8 million to expand our immigration legal services. So the celebration that we had for Citizenship Day was a result of that investment.
And was that meaning that they themselves hired more immigration lawyers?
It meant that the funds were going to go to us, and then we were going to split it with the Tennessee Justice for Our Neighbors. But basically, it's for us to be able to expand our immigration legal services department, right? So then that's where we come in to hire more, folks to build our capacity in our legal services team. So we celebrated the expansion of that for Citizenship Day, as well as hosting that naturalization clinic. And we're able to do that now thanks to having our new awesome building, right? Right in the heart of the immigrant and refugee communities, which is exactly what we wanted to do.
And you have a bus line there too. I mean, there's just opportunity. As we look at the statewide, do you find a level of progress amongst our elected officials because of your presence and always educating them, or like tapping them on the shoulder, hey, you can't do that, oh, that looks bad? A lot of them just don't know. And I know you can't say ignorance is an excuse, but they just never been exposed to it. They don't know, they're scared about voting, it's so political, but sometimes it's the right thing to do, because I personally will get all the time officials saying, well, my friend is has a friend and they're going to deport them, and that's when they get involved, when they hear the story of how good these people are. But what are you seeing in that way? Yeah, no, that is an incredible question. Through our C4, our TIRRC Votes arm, we're able to, be at the legislature lobbying for or against legislation. And, what that includes is building relationships with these people who are making decisions, when we passed our professional license, it was bipartisan support, that is key.
Yeah, exactly. And, throughout history,
Governor Lee, Republican governor, understood the need of the workforce suspension law.
That's exactly right. And throughout history, we've defeated more than 250 anti-immigrant pieces of legislation. And why? Because of the power of our communities. And, one of our pillars of our work is saying that, the strongest tool in your toolbox is your story, your own, that aspect of storytelling. There's so much power in that, and that is exactly what we're trying to highlight.
And there's no need to fear, because we're everyone wants to work together. It's because it's our new adopted community. So, Luis, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for joining Que Pasa. We are a program that just talks about the beauty and opportunities and challenges Latinos bring to Middle Tennessee, and quarterly we bring out the global side of it too. Join us each week at Que Pasa Nashville. Muchas gracias.